Welcome, everybody. Look who we have here. Mr. McGonagall, Richard McGonagle, Sully from the Uncharted series. It's a pleasure to have you on, mate. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for asking.
I have to say, before we start, Uncharted is one of my favorite franchises, gaming franchises of all time. So it really is a pleasure. And without you, the game is not what it is, mate. So I just want to say thank you for the last, how long's it been? Since 2000 and I think 8, the first one came out, and I was about 13 until the
Yeah,
last one we played. So just a big thank you from me, mate.
well, you're very welcome. Thank you for saying that. It's probably the high point of my whole career doing that series. I just had such a good time. We were given so much freedom by Amy Hennig and Gordon Hunt to be a big part of the creative aspect of it. We were given freedom to change things. If a line didn't feel right, we could change it as long as we didn't change the meaning, but we just made it fit our character.
Yeah.
That was accepted. And sometimes we would do stuff, we would go off on something, and they would, after they cut, they said, we're keeping that. We like that better than the script. So it was it was a great experience as an actor to be given that freedom, because you don't always get that.
No. And you can see, the viewers can't see, but you can see my little Uncharted poster there.
Yes.
Sully right there he is. So that's a little variant poster I've got. But how have you been, mate? How's COVID's finally, we're coming out of it, and I mean, how are you feeling? How's everything going for you?
Well, I've skated so far. I have not had anything. I haven't even had a cold, but I suspect that a great deal of that has to do with I just haven't been going out in public a whole lot. I go to my local post office. I go to the market to shop. Every once in a while, I'll go into a store to buy something, but doing a lot online. And when I go into a public space, I've been wearing a mask, and
Yep.
I've gotten all the the shots, and I
You've done
was
everything
even
you need to do, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, enough about COVID, because we're
Yeah,
going to be talking about Uncharted. How can you not,
forget
man? I
about
mean, I've literally played through the first game 12 times. Second game about 8 times, third game about 10 times. So I've got some experience with this one, Richard. Where did it all begin for
I
you?
just lost your sound. I don't
Oh,
hear you anymore.
can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
now you're back.
I was just saying, where did it all begin for you in terms of Uncharted? Because I know you just went through the normal audition process, but did you ever do a chemistry test with Nolan North, who plays Nathan Drake? Because you two are just so fucking good. Sorry about swearing. You're just so
It's
good
all right.
together.
It was a perfect marriage of the two of us
Mm.
as far as the game goes. And the audition experience was kind of a funny story. I went in. I'd done games before, and whenever we did games, we would go into a booth, and we would have the script, which was basically our lines, and we would do them one by one, 3 versions of each one, and go down the page, and then go to the next page. So, and if there was anything different, if there was something in the situation that needed to be explained, the director would come in and say, this is what's going on here. So I walked into this audition, and Gordon Hunt was there, and Gordon, I'd worked for Gordon before in animation, and he brought me into this big studio
So
area.
no Amy Hennig at this point.
Oh, I hadn't met her. Well, actually I had, because I'd worked for her in the past. I did
Ah,
uh, what was it? Jack and
Jack and
Daxter?
Daxter. Yeah.
It was, yeah, I think
Oh, you were in
I
that?
did.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Who?
whatever it was, she liked what I did.
Yep.
Uh,
Wow.
So I go into the room and it's Gordon there, and he says, "Okay, you're going to start here at this desk, and then you're going to go over here, and this is a." And I said, "Wait a second, Gordon, what is this?" He said, "It's motion capture." Motion what? I'd never heard of motion capture. So he explained that to me, and I went, "Okay," but I was off balance, and I went through and I did it. And,
In the suit? In the tight suit?
No,
No.
wasn't in the suit. It was just street clothes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And as in most recording studios, there's a glass between you and the control room, and it's dark in the control room, so usually you can't see anything in there. And I couldn't see anything. I didn't know who was back there. So anyway, I did it. I walked out. I called my agent and I said, "Well, forget that one." I blew that, and explained it to her, and she said, "Well, we'll see."
Yeah.
And a few weeks later, I got the call in the afternoon from my agent, and she said, "You're not going to believe this. You've got a callback." I said, "Okay." And I went to the callback, and there was Nolan. And that was the first time I'd met him. And they had us go through a couple of scenes together. And,
wow.
Oh, geez. My memory is really bad for names.
Emily?
Emily was in there. At that time, she hadn't been cast. She was reading the Emily lines and any other character lines.
Yeah.
So we went through this whole thing, and I noticed there was a couple of guys in there for Nolan's part, but I was the only one that looked my age. So when I walked out, I said I thanked Amy and said, I don't see anybody else here for Sully. What's going on? She said, "Don't worry about it." So I left. And a week or so later, I got the call. "You got this job. Everybody in town wanted this job. You got it." So great. And then we met to do the first shooting with the suits and all that. And we met at this motion capture studio over in.
What was your reaction when they said, "We need you to put this suit on," and it's this tight black suit? You're like, maybe not, guys.
I said, "Oh, that's going to look flattering."
In certain areas, yeah. I understand. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. That was actually one of the first motion captured games. That was like the start of it. I'm pretty sure around those. Yeah.
I think it was. It was. They had done motion capture on a couple of other games. They'd done that. I worked on one after that, or maybe it was at the same time. But it had been done in Sweden, I think, or Denmark, and the people doing the motion capture weren't the actors who voiced it. So we were.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
They actually came into a whole new term, I think, which they called it performance capture.
Yeah. Right.
So we were doing this just like we were doing a play or a scene for a movie. We were acting it out. We were moving around. We were looking at things. That was the great thing about it. That was so much fun. Was it took you back to being a kid again when you were playing with your friends and playing pirates and whatever. And you had to make up everything. You had to make up what the other people you were with were wearing, because, as you said, those flattering suits.
Did you ever rock the mustache to get into character?
No.
Never, not once in all 5 games.
Well, not while we were shooting, no.
Okay.
And especially once we went to putting the dots on the face, they didn't want facial hair.
No, they want you to take it off, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
But it was, let me turn off my mail here.
I'll just read some fan comments here. We've got Bloody who says, a legend arrives. I mean, we've got K-Raz, legend. We've got Kisma. It has been 15 years since Uncharted 1. Did you ever imagine it would go for that long with so much success?
No. When we did one, it was going to be a one and done.
Yeah.
None of us knew anything about the possibility of a second. And it was that way all the way down the line. Every time we'd finish one, we'd think, okay, that's it. And I can remember when Amy told me, we got together for dinner before 3. It was a few months before 3. And she said, get ready. I said, what do you mean? She said, get ready, because we're doing 3, and it's going to have a lot of Sully in it, because the biggest complaint we got from 2 was not enough Sully.
Yeah, true.
I couldn't agree more. But,
yeah, I hope you get paid by the hour.
Yeah, you do.
On the third game, no.
By 4-hour increments.
Oh, mate, I've got so many questions. The first one I wanted to know is, from Uncharted 1 to 4, how did that performance capture change? And how did what was the different vibe from 1 to 4 for you? What was the big difference?
Well, I don't know that there was a really big difference for me, because it was. I think the only thing that would stand out was maybe I became more and more comfortable with Sully, and he was me and I was him.
Well, you could just switch it on like that.
Yeah, and that was one of the great things too with Amy is that she used to listen. As many of you probably know, I was in the Navy, and a lot of stuff. Sully was former Navy too.
Did they have that in because of your background? Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, thought so.
That's all right. She used to listen to some of the stories, because during the breaks we would would tell stories.
Yeah,
and also during some of the shooting, some of the ad-libbing going on was some of my experiences. And she would take those down as notes and add them in. And we'd do the reading in a room at a table read before we went in to shoot the scenes in the studio. And I would get the scripts the night before, usually, for the next day.
So, was the hooker and church line yours or Amy's?
It was mine.
How do you come up with that?
It was a guy that I was in the Navy with, a guy that I was on board ship with.
Wow!
But it was not hooker; it was a whore, and I used it. I said, "I'm sweating like a whore in church." Amy said, "Can't say whore, but how about hooker?"
Wow! What about the line? I love this line. I forgot what game it's in, but it's, we don't get to choose how we start in this life. Real greatness is what we do with the hand we're dealt. Is that Amy's line, or?
That was Amy.
Yeah. That sort of quality writing, I mean, that's a gift, isn't it?
Yeah. That was, I'm pretty sure that was 3.
3.
I think so.
The end of 3, where you give him the ring?
Think so.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
That's a great scene, man. That you and him and Nolan at the end there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many good scenes. We can pick them apart all day. What was it like working with that bastard Nolan North? I mean, he's such a pain in the ass, isn't he, to work with?
Incredible pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried several times to get him fired. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you were gonna play Nathan as well. You were gonna play both characters, weren't you?
Yeah, right. Now Nolan, as I said, we had great chemistry, and we're both from New England. He grew up in Rhode Island. I grew up outside of Boston. So we're a couple of essentially Boston boys, and we just hit it off really well, and we had a very similar sense of humor. Only his was a little sicker than mine.
He's pretty dirty, isn't he? He is, isn't he? He's a bit of a larrikin, I've heard.
He would keep us laughing so much during the breaks. He'd get into some of these. He had all these different characters in his head. And I have you interviewed Nolan?
No, I'm hoping you put in a good word for me. I'd love to.
Oh, I definitely will, because he's.
I'd love to. Yeah, you and him are two of my most requested guests of all time. You and Nolan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
And Emily, of course.
Yeah.
Dark here says, both of you are legends. Thank you, Dark. Bruno here says, did Richard ever play any of the games?
Good question. The answer is, I tried.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I am of the belief that if you were born before 1965, it's just not in your genes. And I was born well before 1965.
Hold on. You wouldn't be a day over 50. Come on, Richard.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Miguel. Not going to lie, Richard would have made a great live-action Sully in the movie. I agree.
You're absolutely correct.
I agree.
I have not seen the movie yet.
I haven't seen the movie. A close friend of mine watched it. He's a big Uncharted fan like me, and he gave it a 3 out of 10. So it's not looking good, Richard.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Well, it's
I know.
too bad.
I know. I think Nolan's in the movie, isn't he? As a cameo. Why?
They brought him in
What
for
about
a cameo.
you?
But they didn't ask me.
Oh, goodness me.
I'm hurt.
That actually pisses me off. That actually annoys me. But what can you do? What can you do? So are you gonna
Nothing.
go to the theater and watch it, or wait for sale?
I'll probably wait for it to come on some streamer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I really want to become a voice actor one day. Any tips, Richard?
Well, it's like any acting. So you could take acting class and learn how to develop a character. But there are also, I don't know where you are, but when I was living in...
I'm in Australia. Australia.
No, I mean the person asking the question.
Oh, sorry.
I know you're in Australia.
I'm guessing USA. Yeah.
Well, if you're in a major metropolitan area that has that does voiceover things, there may be classes. In Los Angeles, there's a few people that I know of who give classes in character voice. If you want to do like animation, cartoon characters and things like that. But you can also just do it yourself. You can come up with different voices for different characters. And for me, it's like, I think it was Laurence Olivier, who used to say, once he put on the costume, the character came more to life for him. Once I find the voice of the character, a lot of it has to do with the explanation of who the character is and what he's after. It's the old questions of who, what, when, and where that an actor should ask himself whenever he's doing a part. Who are you? What's the situation? Where are you? And when is it? What time period? Past, future. So for me, I play around with voices when I get a script and a description of the character, if it's something different than me. Because
like Ben 10.
Yes, Ben 10. Yeah. Forearms.
Surely that's got to like hurt the throat by the end of the session.
It For the session, and the sessions were usually 4 hours long, but it wasn't all forearms talking, so it was just the occasional line in there. But yeah, I mean, some of the other actors in that, because we all used to sit around in a circle in a recording studio and do the scene as if it were.
As in read off each other.
Yes.
Well, they don't do that very often. That's pretty cool.
Well, they did for animated series in LA. Most of the time, it was for animated series, TV series. If it was film, you were all by yourself in a booth with a reader.
And same for ADR in games, yeah. I mean, you would.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would be together. Nolan and I would be in there together. Sometimes Nolan and I and Emily, and sometimes with Graham.
And so is that for those gameplay sequences where they're talking to each other and you've got to just sort of come up with some lines? Is that what you're talking? Is that usually what it is?
It was mostly for action scenes, like in the car or in a vehicle racing along.
Yeah.
We would have the big screen TV in front of us that was showing the scene. The animated scene.
So you're seeing the car go through the supermarket, down the hill, all that. Yeah.
And we're throwing stuff out there. And we threw a lot of stuff out there.
I wish they had that somewhere where we could see it. Some real behind the scenes. I've seen some, but oh man, that'd be so
cool. There is some.
Yeah.
And some of it should never be seen.
I'm curious, of all the Uncharted games, which one do you think you put on the best performance as Sully? Tough question, but I just want to know from your mind, your perspective, which of the games do you think you nailed it the most?
Well, my favorite is 3.
Really?
Partly because of I worked so much more. I was in it so much more, and I got a chance to really play with him.
Yeah.
More. But I don't know. I mean, it would be hard for me to say which one I thought was the best Sully.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking maybe 4, but I'm not sure.
Well, speaking of 4, the ending of, you and Sully and Sam seem to be planning something. Have you pitched them a new game, a spin-off game with you and Sam, you and Troy? Have you pitched it to them yet?
No, I haven't, and I don't know that anybody else has. They seem to feel like that was it. They'd had enough.
Yeah.
Uncharted. The fans hadn't had enough, and I hadn't had enough.
I haven't had enough. I love that they closed the chapter of Nathan Drake. But I feel like you've got you've got yourself, you've got Sam Drake, you've got Nadine, Chloe, all still kicking, and Nathan Drake's daughter, who's come into the fold now as well. I mean, there's still a lot to you could do with these characters, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You agree? So if anybody out there is involved with development on your phone.
Yeah. Well, maybe other Naughty Dog projects you can sneak in and get a role, eh? I don't know what they're up to.
I'm open. They know where I am.
I would have loved to seen you pop up in The Last of Us. Have you seen that game?
I've seen parts of it. Again, I can't really play these things.
No.
I get bogged down really easy.
But yeah, Nolan and Troy are in that one. We got a question here from Jonathan. Do you ever think there will be another Uncharted game and that you'll be a part of it? Pretty much what we touched on. Do you think any time in the future? Is it possible, do you think, or what?
I think it's possible. I really do think it's possible. And I think that, and I would be delighted to do it again. just don't wait too long. I'm getting old, man. And
You're only 50, mate. Come on.
yeah.
It has
Yeah,
been
never mind that last one.
it has been 6 years since Uncharted 4, so I can't believe it's flown by that quickly. Actually, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You are the best voice actor I've ever heard. I really miss your voice. That's from Christopher.
Thank you, sir.
How does
I
it
appreciate
how does it feel when you get fan messages like that? I know there was one that really touched you once at a Comic-Con where I think you started crying, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it brought tears to my eyes. This young man came up to the table with some things to sign, and he told me this story that when he was younger, he and his mother were homeless, and the only thing he had with him aside from some clothing was
PS3.
the PS3 and his Uncharted game. And he said that the Uncharted series kept him sane, and that Sully was his favorite character and was like a father figure to him. And I just went, oh, Jesus. I mean, partially, oh, you poor kid, but also, that stuff. I had no idea that what we did would have that kind of an effect on somebody.
I would agree in some respect, because I was a young teenager at the time when the first one came out, and not a lot of people were. So I'm sure he's not the only one that Sully was sort of a father figure to, in a way, which it is pretty incredible because you don't really hear that a lot in gaming. Let's be honest.
No,
you really don't.
no.
Let's be honest. Most gaming characters are young and active, and you know what I mean. So it is pretty cool.
It is, and Sully, of course, was a father figure, mentor figure to Nathan, and so I guess that translated over into people's imagination, and worked that way for them too. Whatever it was, I'm humbled.
Were you a mentor figure to Nolan in any way during the shooting?
I don't know. You'd have to ask that question of him.
I'm sure he'd say yes.
I know we talked a lot, and we talked a lot about things going on in our careers, and he was going through a lot of different things while we were shooting the different games. Work-wise, he was auditioning for this and for that, and before they came up with Drew Carey, he was up for The Price is Right, and we talked a lot about it, and he asked me questions about it, and I gave him the best advice that I could. I can't remember what it was now, but just that, just go do the best you can, lay it out there, leave it with them, and walk away. There's nothing else we can do.
Very interesting. I have a question. Why does Sully like those unique shirts that he always has on?
That's Amy. Those Hawaiian shirts, I love them. I love Hawaiian shirts. They were perfect for LA. They're not quite so great in Maine, but I have a few of them for the summer.
Richard, you are a great voice actor. That's from Joel.
Thank you, Joel.
Hey, Richard, what made Neil and Amy's directing just that good? What was the difference for them to others that you've worked with?
Well, they were at different times. Neil
came in for 4, yeah.
Pretty much for 4, yeah. And 1, 2, and 3, it was a combination of Amy and Gordon Hunt.
And Gordon, yeah.
They were great in so many ways. I mean, one certainly was what I had mentioned earlier about the freedom they gave us, and the appreciation and encouragement of our participation as creatives in the projects. And Gordon was, he was just a consummate professional director. He'd done so much animation and theater, and he really knew how to talk to actors. He knew the language. He had been an actor, I'm pretty sure, at one point. And of course, his daughter was Helen Hunt, is Helen Hunt. So he was a very gentle, quiet director, which I love. I respond to that kind of director. If a director is yelling at me, my mind just goes, fuck you. I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying a word to you.
But wouldn't there be a lot of directors like that are a bit loud and obnoxious, or am I wrong?
Well, I didn't work with a lot. I worked with a few.
Well, you've done a lot of TV series. I'm sure you would have worked with a few doing those shows.
Yeah, and I used to do a lot of commercials too, and there was a couple of them that did that, and I just gave it right back to them.
Yeah,
and they shut up.
Yeah,
they became a lot kinder and gentler then. So they realized they couldn't bully me. Plus I was bigger than most of them. So.
What are you? I'm 6'4". How tall are you?
Oh, well, you're bigger than me. I'm 6'2".
Oh, we're a couple of giants, eh? Couple of bouncers. Uncharted series is one of the few series out there that keeps me still playing video games. Fantastic job.
Wow.
Sully. Hi, Richard. What do you think of the Uncharted movie that just came out? We just answered that earlier, mate, if you want to rewind. Kisma, the flashback scene in Uncharted 3 with Sully was absolutely awesome. How did you approach that, Richard?
Oh, yeah. The scenes in Cartagena when they first met. Yeah.
Because you're younger there. So do you change the voice a little bit, or
I did change the voice.
Yeah.
I lightened him up.
I noticed that.
I gave him more energy, more youth. Plus, Amy, when she showed me the pictures, her drawings of the character, I just went, holy shit, this guy is buff.
They got it exactly right to what I look like.
His arms were as big as my thighs, for God's sake. So I just I lightened him up. I lightened him up voice tonal wise, but I also lightened him up character wise.
Right.
He wasn't quite so. Because Sully tended to be kind of a little toned down because of his age. He'd done a lot, he'd seen a lot, he'd experienced a lot, so he was a little more world weary. Certainly more world weary than Nathan, and that worked really well for that dynamic between the two, the mentor and trainee, or what's the word for the student?
Teacher.
Apprentice. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. What about like the movements? Did you feel yourself were a bit more free, or not really, because you're in that tight suit?
Yeah, I did. I loosened him up a little bit physically too. It took some it took concentration to do that, and just keep reminding myself while I'm doing it that he's looser, he's more agile.
Can I ask, when you're doing those big motion capture, performance capture days, when you get home, you must be exhausted, no? You must be ready for bed as soon as you walk through the door. Am I wrong, or?
It's I'm tired after a day of that, especially if it's the whole day.
But nothing crazy?
No.
Just a normal day? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like it's not only physically demanding, but also emotionally, because you're...
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it'd hit you a little harder.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
What happened with Uncharted 4? Because Amy Hennig dropped out and all. Like, what was that like for you? Did that impact you?
It was very upsetting.
Yeah.
We were in production on 4, and we got a call one day that Amy had been replaced. I don't know whether this is public knowledge or not, but that was not her choice. It was the company's choice.
Yeah, that's public. Yeah. But I'd love to know why, because she'd done such a fantastic job on the first 3. You know what I mean?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
The answer to that. Why? There was some sort of internal machinations going on behind the scenes, and
yeah.
I don't know.
It was upsetting for you and the entire crew, but then
absolutely.
Like heartbreaking, or you were able to,
angry mostly.
Okay.
Angry. I mean, it hurt, but there was anger on top of it. We actually all got together and talked about just walking away.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So who pulled you together? Was it Neil that ended up binding you guys together, or how did it all come back together?
It was the decision made by all of us actors. First of all, we were contractually obligated. So there would have been legal
ramifications.
Ramifications for it. And then it was, well, all right, let's do this. This was Amy's project from the get-go, and let's do the best we can to end this, because we knew it was the end. They had told us beforehand that it was the last one.
We're wrapping up.
Yeah, but we just thought, well, we'll finish it up and we'll walk away, and we'll keep the series intact, as it were.
And was Amy happy with that final game? Did you ever ask her?
Yeah, she said, "Don't do it. Don't walk away."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's awesome, man. I'd love to have her. Yeah, she's fantastic. I think she's working on another game at the moment for someone writing. I think I don't know what it is, but she's keeping busy. She's one of the. Everyone knows her talents, don't they?
She's extremely talented, and that she should never not be working.
So, is it and you don't have to answer this. Is it tough for you to then go into the set and work with Neil Druckmann, or did he make your life easy? Or because I feel like you would have a little bit of resentment after that decision with Amy and all that. So how do you work through that? You just have to be professional, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, you just have to be professional and try and leave your opinions and
out the door,
resentments outside. Yeah, just go in and do your job, do what you're getting paid to do, the best you can.
I mean, you still had a blast on 4, no? Because it looked like you did.
The first couple of sessions, particularly the first one back in the studio, was a little tense.
Yeah,
but we just suck it up and go in and keep doing it, and I think eventually, before too long, we were back in the groove again, and we were doing it for the game.
Yeah,
doing it for the project.
And I'm guessing, and you just tell me to shut up. There was I don't want to get you in trouble, so you just, Dan, shut the fuck up. I'm just so curious. The story was different, right? Because I know Todd Stashwick was supposed to be the brother at one point, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, and I'm trying to think. The actor who was playing his partner.
I don't know that.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, okay.
His partner. And, oh God, is that
Oh,
man?
wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So that was
yeah.
a direction, and then they ended up, changing the whole thing. I'm guessing, and I'm guessing you got a completely different script, or you don't see the script entirely at the start, or
No, we
no,
we rarely did. We
yeah,
we got scenes
scenes, yeah,
all the way through. That was it. Especially in I think Amy had in one. I think she had, well, in all of them. She had a rough idea. She had a treatment of
yeah.
the story, but things she would constantly change things as we went through, partly by what we'd already done, um, things that were discovered while we were shooting certain scenes, and
What's
sometimes you wouldn't shoot in sequence,
no?
so you'd do something here and you'd have to change something in the beginning, the scene that came before it, that led up to it, or whatever.
Can you remember a big one of those that was a real big change that was thanks to you guys off the top of your head, or?
No, I can't.
No, better to be honest, Richard. Don't worry, my memory's worse than yours, mate. I don't know what I had for breakfast today. We've got some more questions here. During all these years of voice acting, how does your performances and acting skills hold up? I don't know what he means by that question. I mean, maybe how do they develop over the years?
Oh, I think they just get better
I think you just get better with
use.
practice, don't you?
With use. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an old story about, you may have heard this or not, but a guy comes, a tourist gets off of a bus in New York City, and he gets off and he's walking around trying to find his way, and he comes up to a guy, and a police officer, and he says, "Excuse me, but can you tell me how to get to?" No, it wasn't a police officer. It was a businessman walking down the street with his briefcase, and he says to him, "How can you tell me how to get to Carnegie Hall?" Practice, practice, practice. So
I haven't heard that before, actually. They say 10,000 hours will make you pretty damn good at something. So that might be why I'm good at Uncharted. Hey,
maybe,
I got an
maybe,
excuse. I do this for a living, Richard. All right, I got an excuse.
yeah.
Another question here. Hey, Richard, you're an amazing voice actor. Just so you know, I've had a lot of these comments, Richard. I hope you know that people love your performances.
My head is getting very swelled up here.
The makers of Uncharted series would be hard pressed to find actors who shared the same chemistry as Nathan, Emily, and Richard. I honestly think it'd be impossible. You wouldn't. It would be a different game. It would be a different experience, wouldn't it?
I think so. I think so. Cast makes so much difference in whatever you do. You're going to get a different show with a different cast, and certainly with these games. And that was one of the great things about this series is we were with each other right from the get-go, the three of us, Emily, Nolan, and I.
Mm-hmm.
And so we developed, we became a family, kind of.
Oh yeah.
And
do you still see those two?
I haven't seen Emily in quite a while, but I have seen a couple of years ago. Nolan and I got together in Boston. He was in Boston working on some project with Troy, and so I went down and spent the weekend hanging out and doing a couple of scenes for some. I can't remember what the project was. It was something they were trying to sell. I think it
wasn't
it was
Retro
part
Replay?
of. It was part of Retro Replay.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a part of Retro Replay.
Yeah. More questions here. Sully was kind of hot in 3, I must admit.
He was. I couldn't agree more.
Oh, far out.
Amy used to share with me some of the comments that were on the internet and the gaming sites.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, I'm not that familiar with a lot of that stuff.
No, yeah.
I'm not on social media.
Hey, that's good. Good that you're not. I think that was a good move.
I think so. I mean, I spend way too much time just dealing with my email and texts. For God's sake, I don't want to do that. But she used to share some of the comments on those sites, and there was some banter going on back and forth about Sully between two people, and again, I don't know whether these were men, women, or what, but it was Sully's hot in this, and the other one responded, "I'd do him." So I said to Amy, "Are there phone numbers available?"
Oh no! You mentioned that you three were a real family. When what game was it? 2 or 3, where there's a death scene, right, for Sully? It's not really a death scene. When you read that, did they tell you, "Oh, don't worry, you're not actually dead," or did you actually think that he was going to die?
When I got the scene, when we were shooting that scene, and I got the script and I read through it, I said to Amy the next morning when we were in the table read, I said, "So Sully's out?" She smiled and said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry, Sully's not going anywhere.
Okay.
You'll see." And actually, he had that in 1 too. He was killed in 1.
Oh yeah, with the he had the notebook. Yeah, of course. Oh
Yeah.
wow! And I was even devastated then, and you'd only had 2 scenes. Oh wow! Far out. How do you feel when you see the difference in the graphics from the first one to the 4th one? Isn't it crazy?
It's amazing.
It's unbelievable, isn't
Amazing.
it? Mm.
When we saw those pictures, because they had photographs first of the animation that they showed us. I mean, they did that all the way along from 1 through 4, but by the time that 4 was just, wow, that's even more human than human.
I got a couple ones here for you. I want to know if you can remember if these lines were scripted or not. I was just watching a few of the cutscenes. I just wanted to know. There's one where Nathan goes, "You got a great ass, Sully." Do you remember that one? And I mean, surely that's not in the script.
Probably not. That was Nolan.
That's got to be Nolan, because he would say that. He would say, "Great ass, Richard." I'm sure.
Yeah.
And there was another one where is it? Oh, I'll find it eventually. Oh yeah, Sully, you're not proposing, are you? End of Uncharted 3. Is that in the script? You remember when you get the ring out?
I can't remember whether that was
It feels
Amy
like
or
it feels like a Nolan one, but I mean,
it sounds like a Nolan, and it might very well have been. He'll probably remember. We should do this together. You should have the 2 of us on at the same time.
I'd love to.
Then we could go back and forth telling on each other.
Oh, I'd love to, mate. Mr. Richard, could you please say "sweating like a hooker on church"? It's my favorite Sully quote of all time from Cosmo.
Damn it. I'm sweating like a hooker in church here.
Oh, man. I love that.
And one of the other ones that was one of mine was, and this also came from another guy. I was on board ship with a lot of guys from the South, and they had some unique phrases. And this one guy, I can remember the first time I heard it, it cracked me up, but he used to say, "Well, I'll go to hell." and of course I used that one time, and Amy went, "Got it."
It's amazing when you can bring a lot of yourself or your own personality into a role like that. It's just a dream.
It is.
Where's this other question? Oh, I wanted to know, when you go out in public, do people recognize your voice? It's such an iconic voice and character that I feel like you would be stopped here and there where people go, are you Sully? Is that Sully? Or maybe they're too scared to say it, or, you know, because you don't want to be wrong. Like,
it has happened a couple of times. One time was at a restaurant, and we were a bunch of us were at a restaurant, and we were leaving the restaurant, and it was valet parking at this restaurant. So I went up to the valet and handed him my ticket, and I said, it's the, I described the car. I won't tell you what it was. I won't be that ostentatious. But he said, he gave the card to another valet and said, go get this, and gave the key. And he came back over to me, and he said, the other guys had left. And I'm standing there by myself, and he came over to me and he said, excuse me, I don't want to bother you, but are you Sully? I said, good ear. Yes, I am.
Did you say, I'm goddamn Victor Sullivan?
Victor goddamn Sullivan. What do you want to do about it?
What do they do? Ask for a picture or something?
No, he was just delighted. He said, I love the games.
Yeah.
I love the character. I love the games. Thank you. That's one of the great things to hear is thank you. Again, I had no idea that the impression and the fun that brought to some people's lives.
So what's it like when you it's your last scene ever? They say this is it. This is going to be your last scene as Sully. Do you get emotional, or has the weight of it not hit you yet when you're doing that scene?
Well, for me, it was emotional, and I think that it added to the scene that was shot, because it affects the voice. Emotion affects the voice. So regardless of what the emotion is, if it's anger, that affects the voice. If it's tenderness, that affects the voice. If it's sadness, that affects the voice. So as an actor, I always try and get that up. When I'm in a scene, I try and lose myself so much in the character in the scene that my body responds to what's going on with emotions and then physicality.
And so once that scene wraps, how do you feel? Can you recall that moment?
I can't recall it exactly, but it's
bittersweet in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best description probably.
Yeah. And do they have a wrap party or anything? Like, was there a day where you all got to say goodbye? Does that happen in games, or?
We did with 1, 2, and 3. I can't remember whether we had one for 4.
Okay. So it is a common thing to have a wrap party. Okay.
It was with
the first 3. Yeah.
With the first 3, and it always was it wasn't that day after shooting.
No,
one of them was actually. I did a film, The Man with One Red Shoe, with Tom Hanks years ago, and I think we shot one scene at the end, and then the party was right after that. But most of the time, it's a little later on, and they had party planners. They had great parties.
Did you meet Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
What's he like? Because I mean, comes across as the nicest guy in Hollywood.
He's a very nice man, very sweet, very unassuming, and very humble fellow.
Yeah.
Very
Just
grateful for what he's got.
not doesn't come across as like, you know, a celebrity, more just down to earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way you want to be, eh?
Yeah. Unlike me. I'm
Yeah,
just an
you're
arrogant.
you're just so. I mean, I can't shut you up today, although I am interviewing you. So that defeats the purpose. Did Richard ever bring a hooker to church?
No, I never did.
Not yet. There's still time. There's still time.
Yeah, that was Nathan's line after I said that. He said, "You brought a hooker to church?"
Jonathan here says, did Uncharted change your perception of video games in any way, Richard?
Yes, it did. It did. There's those games, which are really the only ones that I've been involved with with performance capture. But those games brought the level, I thought, of believability and reality up so high. They raised the bar so high, as far as I'm concerned, on
everyone's concerned. Don't worry.
and the not only the technical end, but just the performance end, the acting end, the story end.
Oh, it's all
the stories were so good.
all A plus.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, I couldn't get through the games, so the only way I could watch them is they
send you cutscenes, yeah.
They sent me the cutscenes.
Yeah.
So it was like a long movie.
I love that. They don't. Not many developers send cutscenes, so that's cool that they do that for you. Naughty Dog, man, they're good. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Funniest time on set, Richard. Do you remember a funniest time on set? Are there any that spring to mind? I know there's so many.
So many, and it was always Nolan.
Yeah.
Nolan used to do all these different characters, and some of them creepy, some of them annoying. Pardon my grandfather clock going off here. It'll be done in a minute. That's
all right. It's cutting out from Zoom anyway. You can continue. It's all good.
Okay. So he had this character. What the heck was his name? He was this arrogant star.
Okay.
That he used to do, and it was hysterical. I mean, particularly Graham and I. He would get Graham and I going, and the two of them loved to watch me because I'd be laughing so hard, tears were running down my cheeks.
That's fantastic. Just hysterically. I love Graham too, by the way. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's Cutter, and is he anyone else or just Cutter?
And no, he in the first game he was the Russian bad guy.
Of course. Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
Oh, he wasn't Lazarevich, was he?
Lazarevich.
No, really?
Yeah. That was him.
Wow, Graham, you're a gun. Yeah, that's the Uncharted 2. Lazarevich. Yeah, wouldn't want to wouldn't want to run into Lazarevich. Fucking hell.
He's a multi-talented fellow. And a really sweet guy too. Great guy.
Yeah. So, pretty much every day's the funniest day on set. To answer your question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was definitely a job where I really looked forward to going to work when I did. Every time I went to work, I just knew I was going to have a good time.
Richard, you've got to convince Nolan and yourself to come on because I want to hear more of these stories, mate. These are... I could listen to this all day. Amazing. Is there anything you wanted to say to the fans before we wrap up, Richard? Is there anything you want to thank them, or is there anything you want to plug? Or
well, just always remember that I am probably the most incredibly gifted performer you have ever had the good fortune to experience. I'm sorry. I just have to pull
But
that
it's
shit.
it's true. It's true.
No, I thank you all. Thank you all. It's as I said, very humbling and very, very gratifying to hear these comments from people about how much enjoyment they got out of this thing and how much they appreciated it. So I'm full.
Hopefully they fly you down for the Australian Comic-Con so we can meet in person, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
That would be great. I'd love to. Have
you ever been down here before?
I was actually in Sydney in 1967 in April for the May Day celebration in the Navy.
Wow.
My ship was in Sydney Harbor.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, we were down there for R&R from Vietnam.
Wow. It's amazing.
Had a great time.
Yeah?
Oh. I tell you, that Australian beer, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. I'll shout you if you come down here again. But no, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Is there any other, is there upcoming projects you want to plug, or just any casting directors out there, hire this man for the love of fucking God?
Yeah, please. God's sake, what's the matter with you? Get off your ass. Do the right thing.
I do want to ask you a favor, if it's all right. Can Sully say something to Dan as we wrap this one up, Richard?
To Dan?
Yeah.
Let's see. Listen, kid, you're doing a great job. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get too full of yourself. Just stay the way you are, and you'll be all right. All right? Now, if you do stay the way you are, you're going to probably end up in El Goddamn Dorado. If you don't, you're fucked.
I don't think I heard Sully say that last word. I'm trying to recall. Any of the games he say that? No, I don't think so.
I might have said it, but they cut it out, and I had to redo it.
No, thank you so much, Richard. It's a pleasure to have you on, and hopefully we can do it again soon, mate.
Thanks, Dan. It was a pleasure being here. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No, my pleasure, mate. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon, mate. Take care.
All right. Thanks. You too.
Say bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you, Richard. Take care, mate.
See you. Thanks, Dan.
And there you have it, everybody. That is Richard McGonagle. We are not in a current studio at the moment. As you can tell, this is just the temporary as we work on a few things behind the scenes. But there'll be plenty more interviews where this one is from. I'd love to have Nolan and Richard on at some point. I mean, that'd be phenomenal. Hopefully we can get Nolan on as well. I mean, I've tried before to no avail, but you never know. You never know. I'm not ruling it out. Bruno Bloody, Tuscan Wolf, Kisma Ari, Alum, Marcus, Just Vincent, Frank W., Christopher Walker, Jonathan Malka, Jonathan. Yeah, it's pretty much a dream come true. I mean, I've said it before. Uncharted 2, one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite. So to talk to one of the big stars of your favorite game of all time, I mean, come on, guys. It's not bad. It's not bad to kick off season 2. I think we're going to get a couple of Elden Ring people on over the next couple of weeks, possibly. Maybe some people from Horizon. We're probably going to get the Red Dead crew on again. John Marsden, Rob Weedoff, Arthur Morgan, you know. It'd be great to get some of those GTA boys on with the new GTA coming out, you know. Lamar, Trevor, and all that. I mean, that'd be phenomenal if it happens. It'd be a tough one to get, but I'll do my best. Dan, it's so easy to listen to. Thank you, bloody. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'll keep pushing, guys. If you're not into Elden Ring, don't worry. There's other games coming out, but I'm absolutely loving it. So you would have seen I've put out fucking 50 videos on the game because I just absolutely love it, and that will continue after this. But this is just a little palate cleanser. I just wanted to get this interview out with Richard. We've been working on this one for a while. I've had a few, Lance Riddick. We were close to getting that one. Same with Aloy. A couple fell through here. So, it's just tough sometimes to get these to happen. Unfortunately, we're not like Hot Ones or Jimmy Fallon. We're relatively small. So I do my best. But we've had some fucking good guests. Excuse my language today. Woo. But I'm heading to bed too, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all, and I will see you next time. Love you all. Bye.